Hello, everyone. I'm Robert Johnson, and it's good to have you here again. Today, I have one more story I need to share with you. There are things that happen to us when we're young that never really leave. They settle somewhere deep inside, quiet for years, and then one ordinary afternoon, they come roaring back all at once. I know what it feels like to be hungry and ashamed of it at the same time. And I know what it feels like to see that same look on someone else's face and have to decide, in a matter of seconds, who you're going to be. Stay with me, because what happened that afternoon changed something in me I didn't even know still needed changing. I was standing outside a small diner on the edge of town, somewhere in rural Tennessee, the summer of 2006. I was 50 years old, driving back from a job site, tired in that particular way that only comes from years of working with your hands. The afternoon heat sat heavy on everything, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer above the asphalt and turns every shadow into something you want to crawl into. I had just paid for a meal inside, and I was walking back to my truck when I saw him. He couldn't have been more than 8 years old. Small, thin, wearing a shirt 2 sizes too big, standing just off the sidewalk near the diner's side door. He wasn't making a scene. He wasn't crying. He was just standing there, looking at the trash can near the entrance with an expression I recognized immediately because I had worn it myself when I was his age. I grew up in eastern Kentucky in the 1960s. My father worked the mines when there was work, and when there wasn't much of anything. I remember sitting at a table with nothing on it and telling myself I wasn't hungry because saying it out loud made it worse. I remember the particular silence of a house where the adults are trying not to let the children know how bad things really are. I was 10 years old the first time I understood that silence. I never forgot what it tasted like. So when I saw that boy standing near that trash can, I didn't hesitate for long, but I did hesitate. And that hesitation is what I'm still not proud of. I looked around. I thought about what people might think. A grown man approaching a child he doesn't know in a parking lot in a small town where everybody notices everything. I thought about how it might look, and then I thought about 10-year-old me, and I walked over. I crouched down so I wasn't towering over him, and I said hello in the softest voice I had. He looked up at me with those eyes, wide and careful, the eyes of a kid who has learned not to trust too quickly. I asked him if he was waiting for someone. He shook his head. I asked him if he was hungry. He didn't answer, but his jaw tightened in that way that means yes, and I don't want to admit it. I told him I had just eaten, and I was still feeling like I could use some company over a piece of pie, and that the diner made a good one, and that it would be a shame to eat it alone. I watched his face work through the offer. He asked me if I was serious. I told him I never joked about pie. Before we continue, I need to ask you something. Have you ever done the right thing and had to fight through fear and doubt just to take the first step? Have you ever almost walked past someone who needed you because you were worried about how it would look? I know a lot of people watching this right now have felt exactly that. That moment of hesitation before the right choice. If you've been there, write in the comments. I almost didn't, but I did it anyway. Just that. Because someone reading it today might need to know they're not alone in that feeling. We went inside. I ordered him a full meal, not just pie, and I sat across from him while he ate. He told me his name was Daniel. He told me his mom was working a double shift and he hadn't eaten since the night before. He said it plainly, without self-pity, the way kids talk about hard things when they've gotten used to them. It broke something open in my chest. If you're enjoying this story, do me a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel, because what I'm about to tell you is the part that stayed with me the longest. When Daniel finished eating, he looked at me across the table and said thank you in a voice so quiet I almost missed it. Then he said he was going to pay me back someday. I told him he didn't owe me anything. He said everybody owes somebody. I didn't have an answer for that. I just told him to take care of himself, and I walked him to the bus stop and waited until the bus came. I drove home that evening thinking about my father, about Kentucky, about every adult who had ever quietly made sure I had something to eat without making me feel small for needing it. I understood finally that what those people had given me wasn't just food. It was the knowledge that I was worth the effort. That's what I tried to give Daniel. I don't know if it landed. I hope it did. If you made it this far, I already know something about you. You're the kind of person who still believes that kindness matters, that real courage has nothing to do with size or strength, but with the choice you make when it's easier to walk away. These stories exist to remind us of that. If you want to keep hearing them, subscribe to the channel. It's free, it's simple, and every new video is a new story waiting to be told with you on the other side. Hit subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss a single one. See you in the next one.